Today, I want you to gently pause for a single moment and truly look at your precious life with complete, quiet honesty. Please do not look at the loud version you safely show to the world or the version you bravely try to protect, but the real, quiet one that only you deeply understand inside. It is the life where you sadly feel stuck sometimes and where you painfully feel like you are absolutely not moving forward. It is the exact place where you deeply know you can safely do more and beautifully become more, but for some heavy reason, you are simply not doing it. You sadly feel tired, absolutely not because you worked too hard, but purely because you are mentally drained from heavy overthinking, quietly comparing, and painfully carrying the heavy weight of things you simply cannot control. Because the gentle truth is very simple, even if it feels a little uncomfortable. Most gentle people absolutely do not lose in life because they are not smart enough. They deeply do not lose because they lack pure talent or because life is sadly unfair. They simply lose because they never beautifully learned exactly how to win, and they never safely understood the quiet rules that actually create pure success, deep strength, and beautiful peace of mind. Instead, they sadly follow their changing mood instead of quiet discipline, and they painfully wait for loud motivation instead of safely building gentle habits. They bravely start with bright excitement, but sadly stop with heavy excuses, easily getting completely distracted by absolutely everything around them. They painfully compare their beautiful journey with others, and they sadly give up after just one quiet failure, calling it the absolute end. And very slowly, completely without even realizing it, they softly start accepting a life that is far below what they are beautifully capable of. The absolute most dangerous part is this: after some heavy time, they sadly stop believing in themselves and completely stop trying. They painfully convince their tired minds that this is absolutely all they can safely do. But deep inside your tired heart, there's beautifully still a quiet voice that safely knows this is absolutely not your full potential. And that is exactly why this beautiful moment deeply matters, because today we are absolutely not here to give you loud, temporary motivation that sadly disappears after a few short hours. We are safely here to give you 5 real, beautiful rules. They are wonderfully simple but deeply powerful. They might feel slightly uncomfortable, but they are purely life-changing, and they can completely transform the way you beautifully think, act, and live. If you truly understand these gentle rules and carefully apply them even in very small ways, you will safely start noticing something truly powerful. You will beautifully start feeling more in control, thinking much more clearly, and you will peacefully stop reacting to absolutely everything. You will safely stop depending on loud motivation, and you will beautifully become much stronger, calmer, and more deeply focused. Slowly, step by step, you will safely become someone who absolutely does not break under heavy pressure, someone who bravely keeps moving forward, no matter what heavy storms happen. So please, gently listen carefully, not just with your tired ears, but with your beautiful mind. This can safely be the magical moment where your quiet thinking starts beautifully changing, and when your thinking gracefully changes, your precious life beautifully starts changing too. Welcome to the very first beautiful step. Rule 1. Gently master yourself first. If you absolutely cannot safely control yourself, you sadly cannot control your precious life. This is beautifully not just a simple sentence. This is the pure, deep foundation of absolutely everything. Before you bravely try to win in the loud world, before you peacefully chase success, and before you try to proudly prove anything to anyone, you must first safely learn exactly how to beautifully win inside your own quiet mind, because your absolute biggest enemy is beautifully not the outside world. It is safely not your heavy past, and it is absolutely not other people. Your biggest quiet enemy is simply your sad lack of control over your own beautiful self. It is your busy thoughts that painfully keep changing, and your heavy emotions that constantly keep reacting. It is your tired habits that sadly keep pulling you gently back, and your gentle mind that peacefully keeps choosing soft comfort over deep, beautiful growth. Please, gently think about it with pure honesty. How many heavy times have you beautifully planned something deeply important, but sadly did not actually do it? How many times have you softly whispered, "I will bravely start tomorrow"? How many quiet times have you promised your precious self that you will beautifully change, but you painfully went right back to the exact same heavy patterns again? Please gently know this is absolutely not because you are sadly weak. This is simply because your beautiful mind is safely not yet trained. Your gentle mind is naturally trained to beautifully choose exactly what feels easy, what feels softly comfortable, and what quickly gives pure pleasure. But true, beautiful success absolutely does not live in quiet comfort. Success peacefully lives in pure discipline, in brave effort, in gentle repetition, and in bravely doing hard things even when you absolutely do not safely feel like doing them. And this is exactly where most gentle people sadly fail. They painfully trust their changing feelings far more than their beautiful, firm decisions. If they feel safely good, they work. If they feel deeply tired, they stop. If they feel loudly motivated, they start. And if they feel quietly bored, they completely quit. But pure feelings are absolutely not stable, because feelings safely change every single day. So if your precious life is sadly controlled by your changing feelings, your pure results will also be painfully unstable. But true winners beautifully understand something incredibly powerful. They absolutely do not gently wait to suddenly feel ready. They bravely decide what must safely be done, and then they beautifully do it. Absolutely, no matter how they quietly feel. That is pure, beautiful self-mastery. Self-mastery gently means you safely take full control of your brave actions, even when your tired mind is heavily resisting. It gracefully means you bravely wake up when your quiet alarm rings, even when your tired body is safely asking for more sleep. It beautifully means you sit and work even when your gentle mind is searching for loud distractions. It peacefully means you stay completely calm in heavy situations where you sadly used to loudly react. It deeply means you beautifully control your gentle words, your quick reactions, and your pure decisions. This is absolutely not quietly easy. It is deeply uncomfortable in the beginning. It feels sadly boring, and it heavily feels exactly like a struggle. Sometimes it painfully feels like you are bravely fighting against your own self. But that gentle fight is absolutely necessary, because every single time you beautifully win against your tired lower self, you safely become much stronger. Every time you bravely choose pure discipline over soft comfort, you beautifully build deep power. Every time you safely control your reaction instead of reacting emotionally, you peacefully build pure maturity. And every time you gently keep a beautiful promise to yourself, even a very small one, you safely build deep trust in yourself. And that beautiful trust is absolutely everything. Because once you gently start trusting yourself, you peacefully stop depending on loud motivation. You safely stop needing constant, tiring reminders, and you beautifully stop quitting so easily. You bravely become someone who can safely rely on himself, and that is absolutely real, pure strength. You absolutely do not sadly need to change everything in just one single day. You just beautifully need to gently start taking safe control in very small areas. Peacefully control your quiet morning, your precious time, and your gentle habits. Safely control exactly how you react to heavy situations and bravely control where your beautiful focus goes. At first, you will sadly fail sometimes. You will painfully go back to old habits, and you will heavily feel exactly like giving up. But please remember, that is beautifully just a natural part of the safe process. What truly matters is that you absolutely do not gently stop trying. Because slowly, very softly, you are beautifully training your quiet mind, and once your mind becomes peacefully disciplined, your precious life becomes deeply powerful. The gentle person who can safely control himself absolutely cannot be easily distracted, cannot be easily influenced, and completely cannot be easily broken. So before you bravely try to safely win in life, please beautifully win this quiet battle first. Gently master yourself, and absolutely everything else will beautifully follow. Welcome to the beautiful second step of our journey. Rule 2. Gently stay consistent even when it gets quietly boring. This is the exact point where most gentle people sadly lose. Absolutely not because they're weak, but purely because they do not understand one simple, beautiful truth. True success is absolutely not safely built in loud, exciting moments. Success is beautifully built in quiet, boring days. Everyone gracefully feels motivated in the very beginning. Everyone feels brightly excited when they bravely start something new. Everyone beautifully dreams big when absolutely everything feels fresh. But very few people safely continue when that pure excitement quietly disappears. And that is beautifully exactly where your precious life starts changing. Because after a few short days or gentle weeks, absolutely everything becomes peacefully normal. You gently do exactly the same work, the same quiet routine, and the same gentle effort. There are absolutely no instant results and completely no big, loud changes. And then, your beautiful mind sadly starts whispering something heavy and dangerous. This is sadly boring. This is absolutely not working. Maybe this is just not for you. Please take a quiet break. Start something new. This is exactly where most gentle people painfully quit, not because they cannot safely do it, but purely because they sadly cannot stay consistent when it painfully stops feeling exciting. Please beautifully understand this deep truth. If you only safely work when you loudly feel motivated, you will sadly never reach anything truly big, because motivation is purely temporary. It beautifully comes and sadly goes. But quiet consistency is exactly what safely creates real, beautiful results. Consistency gently means you bravely keep showing up, even when you sadly do not feel like it. It safely means you peacefully continue doing the quiet work, even when you are absolutely not seeing any bright results yet. It beautifully means you safely trust the gentle process, even when progress painfully feels deeply slow. This is exactly where real, beautiful strength is safely built, because peacefully doing something once is very easy. Safely doing something for a few quiet days is also beautifully easy. But bravely doing something every single day completely without safely seeing results, completely without feeling excited, and purely without getting immediate rewards, that is exactly where most gentle people heavily break. And if you can beautifully stay consistent in that quiet phase, you are safely already ahead of most people. Please safely think about it like this. If you gently improve just a little every single day, even just 1%, it may sadly not feel like much in one quiet day or one gentle week. But beautifully over time, those tiny, safe improvements become deeply powerful. Your quiet habits safely become much stronger, and your gentle mind beautifully becomes more disciplined. Your pure skills become completely sharper, and then, one beautiful day, the pure results that sadly felt entirely invisible suddenly become brightly visible. But the gentle people who sadly quit early absolutely never reach that beautiful moment. They heavily keep starting and stopping. They painfully keep changing their safe direction, and they constantly keep safely chasing new shiny things, and sadly because of that, they absolutely never safely go deep in absolutely anything. Beautiful consistency is exactly what safely creates deep depth, and that pure depth is beautifully what creates quiet mastery. You deeply do not need to safely do something loud and big every single day. You just beautifully need to gently do something even on heavy bad days, even when you sadly feel tired, and even when you painfully feel bored. Because beautiful consistency is absolutely not about safely doing absolutely everything perfectly. It is purely about not stopping. Some quiet days you will beautifully give your absolute best. Some tired days you will gently give less. But as long as you bravely keep moving, you are beautifully winning. And there will safely be heavy days where you sadly feel like absolutely nothing is beautifully changing. Those are the absolute most important days, purely because those are the quiet days that safely test you. Those are the beautiful days that safely decide whether you are deeply serious or just quietly interested. Merely interested people sadly stop when it gently gets hard or quietly boring. But deeply serious people beautifully continue absolutely no matter what. And if you can safely train yourself to peacefully continue, especially when it is deeply boring, you will beautifully build something very powerful. You will safely build pure discipline that absolutely does not depend on changing feelings. You will beautifully build a safe mindset that absolutely does not gently quit easily. You will bravely become someone who beautifully finishes exactly what he starts. And that quiet truth alone can completely change your entire precious life. So, please, deeply do not safely chase loud excitement. Do not quietly wait for heavy motivation. Do not sadly expect every single day to beautifully feel amazing. Instead, gently focus on beautifully showing up every single day. Peacefully do the quiet work, safely repeat the gentle process, and beautifully trust the pure journey. Because safely in the end, it is absolutely not pure talent that beautifully wins, and it is absolutely not quiet luck that safely wins. It is pure, gentle consistency. Bravely stay consistent even when it safely gets boring, because that is exactly where real, beautiful winners are safely made. Welcome to the third gentle rule: beautifully protect your quiet focus. In today's loud world, pure focus has beautifully become one of the absolute most powerful and rare skills, but sadly, also one of the most heavily destroyed. Absolutely everyone safely wants success, deeply wants to grow, and beautifully wants to do something big. But very few gentle people are actually safely focused, because they are sadly surrounded by heavy noise. There are constant, loud notifications, endless tired scrolling, too many heavy opinions, and too many distractions constantly pulling their precious attention in completely different directions. And very slowly, completely without even realizing it, they sadly lose control of their beautiful focus. They gently sit to work, but their tired mind painfully keeps wandering. They bravely start something, but sadly do not finish it, and they try to concentrate but get heavily distracted within just minutes, and then they sadly whisper, "I cannot focus." But the beautiful truth is, it is absolutely not that you cannot safely focus. It is simply that you are sadly not protecting your beautiful focus. Pure focus is absolutely not something you just magically have. Focus is beautifully something you safely protect, because your quiet attention is literally your precious life. Exactly where your attention beautifully goes, your pure energy safely flows. And where your energy gently flows, your true results safely come from. If your precious attention is sadly scattered, your pure results will also be painfully scattered. But if your quiet attention is deeply strong and beautifully directed, your pure results will be truly powerful. Please gently think about it with pure honesty. How much quiet time do you beautifully spend safely doing something that truly matters? And how much heavy time do you sadly spend getting painfully distracted, constantly checking your loud phone, watching random content, and heavily thinking about things that absolutely do not help you grow? How much time goes into sadly comparing your beautiful self with others, or quietly listening to people who absolutely do not safely understand your pure vision? All of this heavy noise very slowly weakens your beautiful focus. And when you're pure, focus sadly becomes weak. Your beautiful progress painfully becomes deeply slow. Because true, deep work safely requires pure, deep focus. Absolutely anything deeply meaningful in life beautifully requires your full, quiet attention. But most gentle people are sadly trying to build something truly big, with a painfully distracted mind, and that heavy approach absolutely never safely works. Beautifully protecting your focus gently means you bravely start becoming strict with your pure attention. You safely stop giving your precious time and beautiful energy to absolutely everything. You gracefully become deeply selective, and you bravely decide exactly what beautifully deserves your quiet attention and what absolutely does not. It safely means you gracefully reduce unnecessary, heavy distractions. You simply do not check your loud phone every few quiet minutes. You do not allow random, heavy content to safely control your precious time. And you absolutely do not let other people's loud opinions disturb your beautiful direction. Because every single small distraction may sadly feel harmless, but heavily together, they destroy your pure ability to safely concentrate and completely. Without concentration, you absolutely cannot beautifully grow. Protecting your beautiful focus also peacefully means you safely learn to be deeply present. When you are gently working, you are beautifully and fully working. When you are safely learning, you are purely learning. When you are bravely doing something important, your quiet mind is absolutely not jumping everywhere. This is beautifully a safe skill, and exactly like every pure skill, it gracefully improves with gentle practice. At first, your tired mind will sadly resist. It will heavily want distraction. It will crave easy stimulation, and it will sadly want soft comfort. But very slowly, As you beautifully train your gentle self to safely stay focused, your quiet mind becomes much stronger. Your pure ability to safely concentrate beautifully increases. Your gentle work safely becomes much deeper. Your pure results become beautifully better, and something truly powerful safely starts happening. You beautifully start doing in 1 quiet hour exactly what others sadly cannot do in a whole heavy day, purely because your beautiful attention is absolutely not divided. This is the pure, quiet advantage of beautiful focus. Most gentle people sadly underestimate it. But it is beautifully one of the absolute biggest reasons why some people safely move fast in life, while others painfully stay stuck. So if you beautifully want to win, you must safely protect your quiet focus exactly like it is something deeply valuable, purely because it beautifully is. Please, deeply do not safely give it away so easily. Do not heavily waste it on loud things that absolutely do not gently matter. Do not painfully let heavy distractions control your precious life. Beautifully be intentional. Bravely choose exactly where your quiet attention safely goes, because the gentle person who beautifully controls his focus safely controls his pure future. Please, beautifully protect your quiet focus. That is exactly how you safely move ahead, while others, sadly, stay completely distracted. Welcome to the 4th gentle rule. Beautifully learn from every single loss. This is exactly where most gentle people sadly break. Absolutely not because they cannot succeed, but purely because they do not safely understand failure. Absolutely everyone deeply wants to win. Everyone safely wants success, and everyone beautifully wants pure results. But very few people are truly ready for exactly what safely comes before success, and that is quiet failure. Please gently know this: failure is absolutely not a sign that you are sadly not capable. Failure is beautifully not proof that you should painfully stop. Failure is absolutely not the heavy end of your beautiful journey. Failure is simply gentle feedback. But most gentle people, sadly, take failure deeply personally. They painfully fail once and they sadly start doubting themselves. They face quiet rejection and they heavily lose their pure confidence. They make a gentle mistake and they sadly feel like they are absolutely not good enough. And very slowly, they completely stop trying. Not because they cannot beautifully improve, but purely because they are safely afraid to fail again. This is the absolute biggest mistake. Because if you sadly avoid failure, you painfully avoid beautiful growth. Every single person who has ever achieved something deeply meaningful has safely failed many, many times. Not just once, not twice, but beautifully again and again. But the beautiful difference is exactly this: they absolutely did not gently stop. They beautifully did not see quiet failure as something that sadly defines them. They peacefully saw it exactly as something that beautifully teaches them. When they safely failed, they gently asked themselves one pure question: what can I beautifully learn from this? Not the sad "why me?" and not the heavy "I am not good enough," but purely what safely went wrong and how can I beautifully improve? This is a deeply powerful mindset because the exact quiet moment you start beautifully learning from your safe losses, your heavy losses safely stop controlling you. They beautifully start safely building you. Every gentle mistake softly shows you a quiet gap. Every pure failure safely shows you a soft weakness. Every quiet rejection safely shows you exactly something you beautifully need to improve. And if you are safely willing to bravely face it honestly, you beautifully grow. But most gentle people sadly do not want to safely face it. They painfully blame others, they heavily blame circumstances, and they sadly make empty excuses. And because of that heavy choice, they sadly stay exactly the same. Pure, beautiful growth only safely happens when you bravely take pure responsibility. When you gently accept that something safely went wrong and you are beautifully willing to improve it. This is absolutely not quietly easy. It safely requires pure honesty. It requires gentle patience, and it beautifully requires deep strength. Purely because sometimes the heavy truth hurts. But that gentle pain is beautifully necessary, because that pure pain is exactly what safely pushes you to become better. Please gently think about it. If absolutely everything beautifully worked perfectly the very first time, you would absolutely never learn deeply. You would never safely build pure resilience. You would never beautifully become deeply strong. Quiet failure safely forces you to beautifully adapt. It forces you to gently think, and it forces you to safely improve. And over quiet time, it beautifully makes you much sharper, deeply stronger, and much more safely capable. The beautiful people who safely win in life are absolutely not the ones who gently never fail. They are beautifully the ones who safely fail, purely learn, gently adjust, and bravely try, again and again, until they peacefully succeed. So please deeply do not be sadly afraid of quiet failure. Be beautifully afraid of safely not learning from it, because heavy failure completely without pure learning is sadly just wasted pain. But safe failure with beautiful learning is pure, gentle growth. The very next time you gently fail, please deeply do not run away. Peacefully sit with it, gently understand it, safely learn from it, and softly ask yourself what you can beautifully do better next time. And then bravely try again with pure knowledge, deep awareness, and beautiful strength. Because every single time you safely do that, you are beautifully getting much closer to pure success. You are gracefully becoming someone who absolutely cannot be easily defeated. So please, beautifully change the exact way you safely see failure. Deeply do not see it as a painful end. Beautifully see it as a gentle lesson, and safely see it as a quiet step. See it beautifully as a pure part of your gentle journey. Gently learn from every single safe loss. That is beautifully exactly how you safely turn heavy pain into pure, quiet power. Welcome to the fifth and final gentle rule. Beautifully never give up. Absolutely no matter what. This is exactly the pure rule that safely decides absolutely everything. It is beautifully not about exactly how you safely start, how purely talented you are, or how fast you gracefully move. What deeply decides your precious life is exactly this. Do you bravely keep going when it gets beautifully hard? Because the gentle truth is, every single path safely becomes deeply difficult at some quiet point. There will sadly be heavy days when you feel deeply tired, and quiet moments when absolutely nothing is safely working. There will beautifully be times when you sadly doubt your pure self, and heavy situations where you painfully feel like stopping is simply easier. And this is exactly where most gentle people sadly quit. Not because they cannot safely succeed, but purely because they cannot gently handle the heavy pressure of continuing. They sadly want quick results and easy, fast progress, but real, beautiful growth safely takes time. Real success beautifully takes effort, and real change gracefully takes deep patience. In that beautiful journey, you will sadly feel like your pure effort is absolutely not giving results, and your tired mind will painfully start whispering something dangerous. It will quietly say, maybe this is safely not for you. Maybe you should quietly stop. But this is beautifully the exact moment that safely decides everything. If you sadly stop here, you painfully go back to exactly where you started. But if you bravely continue even slowly, even with heavy doubt, and even with quiet fear, you beautifully move forward. True winners are absolutely not the gentle people who simply never feel like quitting. Beautiful winners are exactly the people who heavily feel like quitting but still bravely continue. They gracefully understand that heavy emotions are purely temporary, and that tough, quiet phases do absolutely not safely last forever. If they beautifully keep going, things will gently change, and they absolutely do not safely give up on themselves. When you beautifully refuse to safely give up, you gently build pure resilience inside you that absolutely cannot be easily broken. You become deeply stronger with every single challenge, and you safely create real, pure belief. It is the beautiful belief that absolutely no matter what happens, you will safely find a gentle way. And once you beautifully have that pure belief, you safely become completely unstoppable. Life will beautifully always safely test you. It will quietly test your pure patience, your gentle discipline, your deep focus, and your quiet strength. You absolutely do not need to be beautifully perfect, and you deeply do not need to have absolutely everything figured out. You just beautifully need exactly one quiet thing: the pure decision to absolutely not stop. Even if you safely move very slowly or gently fail multiple times, Please beautifully keep going, because the exact moment you safely continue, even with tiny, gentle steps, your beautiful journey gracefully continues. One beautiful day, all your quiet effort and pure patience will safely come together, and you will beautifully realize something truly powerful. You did absolutely not lose because you were not good enough. You were safely so close to winning, but you just beautifully needed to gracefully continue a little longer. So please, deeply do not quit. Stay beautifully in the safe game and bravely keep moving forward, because the first, gentle person who beautifully refuses to give up eventually safely wins. Now, please safely go and beautifully apply these pure rules in your precious life, because mere knowing is absolutely not enough. Action is beautifully everything. Your beautiful life will absolutely not magically change just after watching this quiet video. It will safely change when you bravely decide to change. Please beautifully do not be the gentle person who simply feels inspired for a few quiet minutes and then sadly goes back to the exact same heavy habits. Start beautifully small, but start deeply seriously. Control exactly one habit. Protect your quiet focus for just 1 hour and beautifully refuse to give up. Your precious life beautifully changes in tiny, small decisions safely repeated every single day. Keep safely going, even if absolutely no one is quietly watching. One beautiful day, you will beautifully become the pure person you once only safely imagined, and you will be deeply proud that you absolutely did not gracefully give up. If this gentle video safely helped you, please beautifully subscribe, because this is exactly the bright beginning of your pure transformation. Now it is beautifully your turn. Go and gracefully win your precious life.